Hello everybody. Working on a new video here, and we're going to do an open box. We're going to do a review. We're going to do a build. We're going to do wicking and breakdown of the Lemo. The Lemo RBA from Eleaf. I have it on the Eleaf i30 right now. My iStick 50 is charging, so I had to put it on here while things get charged up. I got this in the search of a rebuildable atomizer, and I'm waiting for the Kanger Tech Mini to arrive. As soon as that gets here and I get working with it, I'm going to do a video on that unit, and then I'll do a review or kind of a comparison, and I'm going to put three of these tanks up against each other. It's going to be the Lemo, the Eleaf Lemo. It's going to be the Aspire Atlantis, and then I'm going to put the Kanger Sub-Tank Mini. I'm going to put all three of those guys up against each other, and we'll see in my journey and my quest for flavor versus clouds. These guys can create clouds no problem. It's the flavor and that sweet spot that I'm looking for. But anyway, with no further questions or anything, this is the Lemo. The Eleaf Lemo. You can get yours through the great people at alluringvapors.com. That's alluringvapors.com. They have it currently for $33.99. That's pretty darn low for a tank of this size, this caliber. This is a good tank. Now we'll go down and we'll take it down and break it down here, and I'll show you. I've actually done 2 or 3 parts a video putting together for this Lemo. One, I break it down and do the open box and show you the unit, and then I actually do a build off of the RBA, and I show you how to wick get the wick in the coil and work on the deck and the chimney. But one thing, my pros and cons with this unit, the pros are it's a great tank, holds a lot of liquid, and I can really dial it in on the flavor. The con to that is in order to do that, you have to take this bottom 510 connection plate off, and I'll show this to you. This has an adjustable 510 pin in it. The problem that I'm running into is and I'll show it here to you. There is a screw, a flathead screw in the middle. You do not adjust that. It is actually the ring around that screw that adjusts your airflow. Now, if you're anything like me and you're really chasing flavor and not clouds, most of the reviews I've seen, it's open it wide, open it all the way up. I find when you do that, you get a lot of vapor production, but flavor starts to kind of go away. You almost get just a vapor. And that's cool for those folks that are, like I said, cloud chasing. I'm a flavor chaser, and I really try to get these tanks to get right at the sweet spot of flavor that I want. So adjusting is a little bit of a pain because you have to take it off every time or unscrew this 510 connection plate in order to do that. I hear there's a mechanical mod out there actually where you don't even use the 510 connector. You can connect right to it, but that's a little out of my level of vaping thus far. So I'm gonna vape on this here. Flavor is awesome. Like I say, once you find the sweet spot on this for those flavor chasers, you're gonna worship worship its settings. You know, you're going to want to keep it right there at the setting, and it is a little hard. You know, if you clean that under plate where that screw is, or go to fill it, you can knock it off a little bit. It doesn't have the click. It doesn't have any kind of tightening down on it. It's pretty free adjustable ring around that screw. You can use a little flathead or a little tiny screwdriver to grab the notch in it and adjust it. And there is a dial on here, there is a diagram on here if you didn't see it before. My camera is not the best. But if you look in there, there is a arrow with a plus and minus on it that will assist you in the direction that you need to go for more or less air. What is cool is there are 4 air holes on the side of the tank that take into that center core. There is no adjustment on the outside. So that's my con to it. The pros is this thing is beefy. I like the drip tip. Filling it is a little sketchy. You have to have either a very small syringe. You have to have a needle bottle that can get into the little tiny screw hole. Be careful not to lose the screw. That is how you fill the tank. So like the Kanger you actually fill it upside down like an Atlantis or a Nautilus tank, and then you put it together upside down. This one you actually hold upside down, and you have to take a syringe or a needle bottle and squeeze it in there. I have filled this with the dropper that comes in most e-liquid bottles. It can be done. It can be a little messy, but if you're careful and you're patient, you can get it in there. I can usually do this with 5-6 squeezes, and I can get it done. But anyway, I'm gonna vape it here again. So yeah, I have the airflow on this a little lower than half, and as you can see, I'm producing plenty of vapors. Vapor production is good. It's thick, but the flavor is there. So I have it dialed in for flavor more than air, like I said. This unit comes in stainless steel and a black. When you speak of the black one, it's the outer frame here and the top with the drip tip that's black. The inner core is still stainless steel. It is so it's good for those people that are vaping, maybe new, maybe want to start getting into RDAs, but want the tank. I've done RDA builds, and I have also just the regular tanks like the Atlantis and the Nautilus Mini, and I love those. They have their place. They do their job excellent. But I have done RDA builds and drippers, and I'm not getting where I want to be with flavor. I'm not getting complete satisfaction out of the flavor of the juices, thick or high viscosity or low. The high VG ones, it doesn't really matter. I'm not getting a lot of flavor. I've tried to zero down on the airflows, and I'm still not getting it. So I'm kind of trying these rebuildable atomizer tanks to see if this is where I want to go. So like I said, I'll do the Aspire Atlantis too, and I'll also do a do-it-yourself, replace the coil and wick in one of the cartridges for the Aspire Atlantis. So we're gonna get down and dirty with the Eleaf Lemo. This is not the Lemo drop. This is the regular Lemo. We're going to go down and we're going to tear this guy apart. We're going to open it up. We're going to show you what comes in the box. And then I'm actually going to, I did another video, kind of a short video I'll attach with it of a build I did, and the wicking that I recommend on this, and from there. Comes with a great coil in the box or already built on the deck. Cotton is a little substandard in my opinion. It's almost just like cotton balls. I go with the 100% organic Japanese cotton, but I'll show you how to do that too. So let's get down and dirty, and I'll see you back up here in a minute. Okay, everybody, so we're going to be taking a look at this Lemo. This is the silver edition. So this is the Lemo, not the Lemo drop. Here it is in its case, little foam type case. And here's the actual Lemo itself. And we're going to look in the box real quick here, and under the foaming here and under the packaging pad, you've got instructions with a convenient little measuring tape for when you're building your coil. Here's the user manual for the Lemo. You get a bag with screwdrivers, extra O-rings, and extra screws. And a bag of cotton. I am guessing this is not organic cotton since I've already set this unit was already set up, and I'll show you that in a moment. This cotton, you could definitely taste this cotton. So I put some organic cotton, but here's some cotton balls if you need to clean up something, because I wouldn't use them in the Lemo. And here's some extra Kenthal wire, and we'll put all this back in here and dive down into the actual Lemo itself. It came pre-built, the coil, and I'll show you that here. So we're going to take the base off. It does have an adjustable center pin, and this has been rinsed out, and I've used it and tested it. So you take the base off. There is your screw. You remove that screw to put your liquid in. And here's the adjustment. If you can look, my camera's not the best, but you take a screwdriver and you don't turn this center screw, you turn the ring that's around that screw to adjust airflow. I recommend starting all the way open and then dial down as you go. Here's your Pyrex glass tube. Here is your drip tip. Here is the top for the chimney. Here's the chimney piece. The chimney piece, the top of the chimney comes off, and you have a ring. And if you see inside there, there is a coil. This coil is built, already pre-built, and it did have a piece of cotton in here. The cotton was the cotton ball that you just saw in the box. It was one of those. I don't recommend those by any means. I basically filled it and tried to vape it, and got dry hits. Got a very burning taste and a very kind of nasty cotton taste. So I recommend pulling that out. The coil is actually very built very well. We're sitting at 1.1 ohms. I am probably going to have to tighten this coil a little bit, but as you can see, it heats up very well. It's like I said, a very nice build. They're not doing on the top screws; they're actually putting it in through. It's kind of a zigzag feed into this unit. So the coil was a good build. I have to give it that. The cotton was not in there very well. Maybe it was because, during packaging. But if you look on the sides, each side of this guy here, there are little siphon holes. So when you're building your coil, when you're wicking your coil and you're putting the cotton down in there, you want to make sure that cotton doesn't obstruct those holes. So you want to pack your cotton in there so it will wick, but you don't want to cover those holes. You want an easy airflow for that. So as it builds pressure from you taking puffs, it will then bring more fluid in. I will go and fill this up, and we'll go back and we'll vape it. I've already vaped this and now just cleaned it out, rinsed it out, so we could do this little video. It's a nice little set. It's actually really good. I'm going to do a review of this versus the Atlantis by Aspire, and I am waiting for a Kanger sub-tank mini, and I'm going to compare all three of those together and see what we come up with. It's a pretty good unit. It's a very attractive unit. It's a very nice built. It's solid. There were complaints about squeaking in the screw or in the different units. Be honest with you, I'm not hearing it, and I don't think either of you. It's just a solid, steady metal, stainless steel screw. This is by Eleaf. This is what they call the silver. It does come in it comes, I believe, in a black and silver is the Lemo. And I will be filling the Lemo up and putting it on this Eleaf iStick 50, and we will vape it. So, okay, everybody, I just wanted to add a little something to the Lemo here. We're doing a video. So I'm sitting right at 0.99 ohms. I just heated this coil up a little bit. It wasn't getting a very quick glow, but I'm using 100% Japanese organic cotton here. What I did is it comes in layers. I then tore one of the layers apart to get it a little thin. Because keep in mind, once you put your wick in, your cotton here, you're gonna have to fit it in this ring, and I'll try to show you here. I've never done a video on a build, but you want it pretty loose in there. You don't want a lot of resistance. You don't want it real tight. You want to be able to pull it, and I found that the original cotton that was in here was packed in here just entirely too tight, and it caused problems. I was getting dry hits. I was getting there was no fluid, I think, getting into the reservoir there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this to the edge, the outer edge, of the thing here, the actual base of it. These scissors usually work really well. They're just not working good up. And they're not working very well right now. So now I'm going to have to redo this and hope that it goes in. So you don't need a lot. What came in this was a lot. It doesn't really need it. I'm going to tell you, it definitely doesn't need a lot. And I'm going to show you why here. Once I put this tube guy on. So part of the base here has to screw on. What you can do too, that I learned the last time I did this, you can actually fold it up, collar over the cotton with the ring, screwing this down, and then pack your cotton. And I'm going to try to do this on camera and do this, film it and do it at the same time. When you get the cotton down on the bottom, you want to spread out a little bit. What I do is I take tweezers and almost spread where the reservoir is. Against that back wall, you want it as clean over on these sides, because you have a fill hole here and well, not a fill hole, but it's almost like a siphon hole, and these go into the tank. If you have too much cotton packed in there or too much cotton around the actual coil itself, I find that it will not, your fluid will not come up to the to the wick at all. I'm actually not very pleased with this piece, so I am going to do another one. I will show you firsthand how we do it. So I cut a strip about this long, and you split this guy in half. This has already been split. So I'm going to twist this up. This is a fresh one. This is the other half of what that one was. So, but they come in beds or layers, and you want to split the layers basically about half. If you could do half of the layer, that should be thin enough to really get in there. The reason I'm spreading this out and almost like trying to pigtail it is because it's going to have to spread around those holes later on. So let's do this different now, since we will take these two guys and we'll put them over, pulling them up. We'll screw this guy down. What I found is this tube is threaded the same on both ends, so you can chimney on one end and the base on another. You can actually flip it over. It is not really picky. So I'm going to now cut cotton about right at the top, and we'll do this the right way this time. Okay. Like I said, when you are pushing your cotton down in the base, you want to kind of spread it out so it picks it up, but you want to leave a gap, so you're almost splitting it in a Y as you get it down in there, because if you don't, you will get dry hits. You will get a burning taste. I got it when I opened the pack. All I did was put liquid in this and started vaping on it with the cotton. And I learned real quick that if you don't leave that hole on each side exposed and light peering through slightly, you will get dry hits. You will get dry burns. So the coil that was on there, it was a pretty awesome coil, I have to say. I was impressed with it, and I didn't have to build one. So I'm going to take some Miss Samoa here. This is not by Drip Tonic anymore. It's by FAQ. And I'm just going to paint this and saturate this before I close the chimney up. I'm going to make sure that the cotton is really getting the liquid. Because, like I said, you do not want dry hits. It is not fun. If anybody that's ever done it can tell you, it is not fun by any means. So I'm going to let that soak in just a little bit. I am going to try to pull this cotton away from them holes a little bit. Now that it's wet, you can kind of work it and squeeze it, and you really want this right. Again, if you don't, you're going to run into dry hits and that burn taste. And like I said, if you've ever gotten a burn taste, you don't want it. So, and we're going to screw the glass onto the chimney, and you drip tip this guy. And let's test it again. It should be at about 1 ohm. Yeah, 1.1 ohm. Sounds good to me. Alright, so we're going to go back up top. I just wanted to add this because I was just going to do the review on the unit, and I did. This is the Eleaf Lemo. So we're going to go ahead and fill this all the way up, and then we're going to vape on it, and we'll go from there. Alright, so I wanted to stop back on the Lemo here. We did fill it up. I didn't bore everybody with the long filling up, but there is a screw right there. You remove that screw, and get your e-liquid in there. With a dropper, it can be done. It is a little messy. If you have a needled bottle or a syringe with a small enough needle to get down in there, it definitely is easier. You don't want to get any in the center opening, this well or this kind of cutout here around the screw. That is the air chamber. And that ring in there is definitely all the way open for me. Best way I recommend everybody to try leaving it all the way open. So when you put your bottom cap on with the 510 connector on it, you've got 4 holes here that act as your air holes. So if this ring that is on this screw, now keep in mind, I did say you don't tighten this screw here. This screw does not tighten or loosen. It is the ring around it here. And you can take usually a Phillips head or a smaller head, and you spin this ring around to where you want it. And I have it all the way open right now. Again, that screw there is for filling the tank. I have now filled the tank. Nobody has mentioned that I can find or read that if you put the heavy VG in here that it does not work. One thing I will tell you is when you fill this guy up, like I was showing in the video, you have 2 slots on each side that allows the juice to seep into the coil and wicking area that's inside the chimney. I recommend giving it a few dry hits and watch the bubbles. You should have bubbles coming up, and yeah, as you can see, there's a bubble traveling up right now. So as you give it little hits, you should see bubbles. Those bubbles are telling you that liquid is getting into the chimney area where the coil and the wick is. I would let this sit for 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, periodically giving it a little dry hit. I kind of give it little bursts of inhale. And when I don't see any more bubbles traveling up, I am going to assume that it is full. So we're going to go ahead and let this sit and let the liquid go down into the coil area, because I do see a few bubbles forming down at the bottom. So we will go ahead and let this, and then I'll vape it and we'll go over it. So now that we've broke down the Lemo, I showed you what came in the box. You've got all your extra O-rings. You've got a couple extra screws for that fill port. The instruction book that comes with it, as you saw, was pretty impressive. It even has a measuring tape chart on there so you can cut your wire. It's a pretty good kit. I'm liking it. Like I said, the pros and cons, like I spoke of earlier, the pros are this is a great tank, holds a lot of fluid or enough liquid for me for the day. Great drip tip, and it performs really well. And if you can find the sweet spot with that air adjustment ring underneath, you're good. The cons to it is, again, you have to separate the unit from that 510 connector disc or a unit in order to adjust it. Other than that, I really don't have any cons. Yeah, I mean, it vapes good. One thing I can say is when you want to just open it, if you try to just take the top of the chimney and the base here, drip tip base off, the glass is not screwed in through this bottom. As you saw in the video, it's just sitting on top of here, and it's sitting tightly on a O-ring. So the minute you unscrew this, if you still have fluid in there, it's going to start leaking. If you try to take the bottom off, the chimney will actually leak down into the drip tip, and you'll have a mess. One other con that I have for this is if you're just filling it, so you've ran out, you're not going to do any rebuilds, you're not going to do anything really with it, you're trying not to adjust or make any changes to the air because you found your sweet spot. When you have this thing upside down, I recommend twisting up a paper towel and sticking it down the drip tip while it's upside down and you're filling it. Because once you break that seal, the airflow or any juices that are in the chimney where the wick and the coil are will leak out of this tip. And I have had it standing kind of upside down when I'm filling it, and we will get a little leak, a little drip out of it. Other than that, I like this unit. And like I said, on my website, neovape.net, I am going to, once the Kanger arrives and I vape on the Kanger for a while to see how it performs as a solo, I'm going to then put the 3 units together, and the 3 units I'm going to compare or versus each other is going to be the Eleaf Lemo, the Kanger Tech Sub-Tank Mini, and the Aspire Atlantis. I'm going to put those guys up against each other, even though the Aspire Atlantis is not really a rebuildable tank. I kind of put it in the same category because Aspire has now taken that tank to the next level. I don't think it'll be too long before Aspire comes up with an Atlantis or another tank that has that rebuildable deck, similar to the Eleaf Lemo or the Kanger Tech sub-tanks. So this is the Lemo. I already did an Aspire Atlantis review. So we're just waiting for the Kanger Tech, and as soon as that arrives, like I said, I'll vape on it for a few days, maybe a week, and then the battle begins. I'm going to put those 3 guys up against each other. So we'll see you then. And remember, you can get this $33.99 currently at alluringvapors.com. That's a darn good price. I've seen them ranging anywhere between $30 or $33 and almost $50. So, yeah, make sure you buy official Eleaf Lemo. And like I said, you can get it at alluringvapors.com. And we'll see you next time. Vape on.